Shmonty in the morning. Rock 102.1 KFMA.
We're starting off with something controversial.
There we go. And that's the key to every interview.
It really is.
With Corey Taylor.
Well, yeah, because all you have to do is really just turn the mic on, and apparently every time that happens, I say something controversial. So let's see who we can piss off this time.
I know. Well, I mean, that I always feel bad when, in an interview when I'm talking with someone, because, I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy yourself, because you probably get grilled. You probably pick up on when someone walks in a room and you're like, oh, this guy's going to ask me.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, he has it in his eye. I see the gleam.
Yeah. Well, and half the time, all they want to do is make sure that they get it up just so they can have it in the headline. So then all the cut and pasters pick it up and then just smear it all over the place.
Right.
Taking everything out of context. It's infuriating. And I just sit back and I go, I mean, the old adage still applies, the only bad press is no press at all.
Exactly.
But, sometimes you just want people to get it, it's like half the time it's like you take stuff that I said and you put it in a certain context, and it's like, where you take it out of context.
Right. That's where the more
it turns
damage
into
comes
something
from.
completely different. It's like, whoa. You need to go back to the source and hear what I was actually saying. So, but, what else is new? That's the price you pay for not censoring yourself, though.
Right.
And I guess, what's the good side and the bad side to being able to speak your mind and not be one of these vanilla cookie cutter celebrity types. I hate saying that when it comes to me, but these people who are just so overly contrite and just won't say anything that has any reflection of who they are, or because they're so afraid of pissing people off.
Sure.
That's the price you pay for, being yourself. Then I guess I'll deal with it,
Right, yeah, I don't know if the fans out there that are lined up, queued up outside Tucson Convention Center right now, if you were like a vanilla version or a diet Corey Taylor, would there be the same reaction?
If there were, I don't think there'd be anybody here. I think I'd have been done 15 years ago. They'd be like, who's the dick from Iowa? It's good and it's bad. I mean, on one level, you are, like I said, taken out of context,
right?
Kind of smeared all over the place. But the benefit is that you can always, your touchstone never changes. You come back to yourself. You're like, I know who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't have to put on airs or be somebody different, when the mic goes on. It's just me, So I don't have to fake anything.
You don't have to remember, oh wait, how do I answer this question?
What did I say before? It's
right.
like, this is who I am.
Yeah,
this
I said what I
believe,
said.
and this is just the way it is. So I guess it's, on one hand, it's ad nauseum being taken and smeared all over the place, but at the same time, it's like, if you're going to have stuff smeared, might as well be stuff that you believe,
Right.
So it is what it is.
Do you have anything that comes to mind, your favorite question where you just, you know what's coming, you see it's coming, and you go, all right, let me stop you right there before, because I know where this is heading.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the brakes on you.
I mean, there are phases that kind of come and go. Lately, it's been, a year ago, it was the Kanye stuff.
Right.
Him being 6
the
months
greatest
ago,
rock star.
Yeah, no, don't even get me started. 6 months ago, it was, not even then. 2 years before that, it was the Joey question.
Yeah.
3 years before that, it was the Paul question. I mean, so it all kind of comes and goes, and all you can do is just stick to your guns and be honest, because that's honestly in this business, it's the only defense you have.
Right.
So if you know that somebody is taking you out of context and being completely misleading, you can immediately come to the defense of who you are, Just recently, and I wasn't taken out of context, but there was a piece on Gawker that was put up that was we were referenced as the type of music that your typical Trump fan or Trump supporter would listen to. And it kind of came back to that one musclehead dude with the crappy tats who was screaming about Mexicans.
The guy that was outside the Phoenix.
That's exactly it. And the picture was there, and then it was just like, this is your typical Trump supporter. He drinks Mountain Dew and PBR. He listens to Slipknot. And I immediately took offense to that. You know, I said, whoa.
Right.
If you think this is your normal Slipknot fan, then you don't know anything about us. I said, I'm not saying that he doesn't listen to Slipknot.
Sure.
But this is not the message that we put out.
Right.
And I will not have my message put out like that. Within probably 30 minutes, I had the writer there on Twitter saying I didn't want to use that, but it was, the editor said I should use Slipknot.
Yeah, you didn't want to use it, but you did.
Exactly.
But you did.
Then I had the editor come on, and they, in that moment, amended the story with an asterisk and everything and took it all out and said this was amended at this time and blah, 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 blah. We apologize to Corey Taylor and Slipknot for any offense that might have been taken. Now, granted, it was Gawker.
Sure.
Gawker's, it's not the Huff Post or anything like that, but it's, people read that. And I'll be damned if I'm going to have my band that has done everything in its power to support equality and to break down racial walls, walls that have to do with the middle class, the lower class, upper class, at working class.
Right.
I'm not going to have somebody, tearing that down to make a point because some asshole was screaming hate. By the way, from clear back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
he wasn't in the thick of it.
You're that big of a dude, and you're going to do it from way back there. It's like, dude, screw you.
He struck me as like a guy who would go to Bro Country or maybe an EDM festival. Like, that was my snap judgment, and I'm guilty of making it. I feel like we all are. But when I saw him, I don't know. My first thought wouldn't be Slipknot.
No, absolutely not. And so, I mean, it comes and goes. And honestly, it all depends on what I've said that week. The latest was when I slapped the phone out of the kid's hand, and all of these millennials came out of the woodwork because they were so offended. And it's like, no, there are worse things going on that you should be offended about.
Sure. Well, I mean, if anything, that kid has a cool story for life, and I feel like he can own that. He can go, I was front row at a Slipknot show, and I was on my phone,
I was texting,
Snapchatting, whatever. Yeah.
Corey smacked it out of my hand, and then we had a moment, and then it was all good.
Yeah, I would never
that's
wash
literally
that.
what it was.
I would never wash that phone again. I don't know if you wash phones, but I wouldn't do it.
Do you wash phones?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I go through them.
It depends on how
quickly.
many dirty phone calls you take.
Exactly.
I mean, there
Gotta
you go.
Clean my history.
Yeah.
So you guys have been busy, man. I mean, you just did Notfest last week.
Yeah.
How is that for you getting to combine the two with a festival that is it fair to say Ozzfest shaped you guys, defined you guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Helped make Slipknot what it is? Like what was it like having that come together?
That was the culmination of, in my mind, a long time coming.
Yeah.
There's 17 years of working our asses off, paying our dues, trying to give back to the people who helped us get where we were. And then being able to do something with the very organization that gave us really our biggest break in a lot of ways. I mean, getting signed, making the album, that was really the first step of whatever. But then being on Ozzfest 99 was obviously such a huge boost for us.
Right.
And the Osbournes have always been very good to us, and we've never forgotten that, So for us, obviously, taking a lot of cues from them when it comes to Knotfest, being able to put together that weekend, Ozzfest meets Knotfest, was in a lot of ways our homage to them, us showing that respect, and also trying to do something cool with them, because when it comes to Ozzfest, I mean, that's such a huge name of recognition and respect, especially when it comes to our genre. So being able to do that and really put together something massive. Somebody said it was the biggest heavy metal festival in North America in the last 35 years. So, I mean, that's pretty goddamn big.
It was 2 days of heavy hitters, man.
That is huge because, I mean, that's including the original Ozzfest. That's including, all the Lollapaloozas. That's including the Us Festival in the 80s. I mean, that's a lot of big name stuff. And for us to be able to kind of team with them and make something massive like that is, that to me, it was worth every drop of work that we put into it. How
was the sound? Because every time I see Ozzy, he can't fucking hear anybody, is what he says. I can't hear you.
It's never loud enough. You ain't bleeping loud enough. Ugh. There's your drinking game right there. The Ozzy drinking game.
Exactly.
You ain't loud enough. It was amazing, dude. Like it was. I wasn't there for the Sabbath night, obviously, but from all the reports, they sounded incredible. All the bands had great times. We had some technical difficulties on the Notfest show, but we were able to kind of overcome them. Anthrax, they could only play part of their set because there was some stuff going on. Monomarth and Slayer, they shed some of their time to get us on stage, which I thought was pretty amazing. They didn't have to do that. So it was cool. We were able to really kind of get things back on track. And then for us going out there, and we did the entire Iowa album from start to finish, and it just destroyed. I mean, it was off the hook. It was really, really cool, and people really had a good time. So it was a great weekend.
Yeah. And now, I mean, you're on a Korn track that's coming out on Thursday.
Yeah.
The new song with Korn. You're doing the Kings of Chaos in Las Vegas. It's like a metal Rat Pack.
Kind of,
over in December.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, it's just it's me and a bunch of people that I know. That albeit very famous people.
Right.
Just getting together and jamming good tunes, man. Chester from Lincoln is going to be there. Obviously, Matt Sorum. Steve Stevens, incredible guitar player.
Right.
Robert DeLeo is going to be there, and he is just such an underrated bass player. It's ridiculous how good that guy is. And Billy Duffy from the Cult, and it's honestly there's going to be more people. And this is just the first batch of just letting people know who's going to be there.
Sure, yeah.
So it's just going to be a good time, man. It's December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And, I'm really looking forward to it. Because I live in Vegas, so I'm just going to drive in,
there you go,
do it, and drive home,
You're all set.
Go ahead and you take a shower and go to bed.
And I hope this is a fair comparison, because Dave Grohl, to me, is a guy who has his hand in everything. And I feel like you're becoming is it okay to call you the Dave Grohl of the metal world?
God, sure.
Or is that insulting? Is that
no, that's not insulting at all.
Like you haven't hit me yet, so I think we're okay.
Well, there's that.
The interview's young, though.
Well, there's that. I guess so. Dave does a lot of stuff because he's got a lot of interests.
Sure.
And I'm kind of, I'm the same way. I don't know how he chooses his stuff, though. So, I mean, I can't speak at length about all the stuff that he gets involved with. I'm sure he's just as choosy as I am.
Yeah,
I'm very choosy. As much stuff as I do, you should see the stuff that I turn down. Like it's a lot. Like it's a big list of stuff that I've turned down in the past. Some of which is really mainstream stuff, and I've just not felt it. Like I just wasn't into it, and for whatever reason, whether I just wasn't feeling the music. I didn't think it was the right decision.
Sure.
I just didn't feel like I could do it and feel good about myself, so I always tend to follow my heart when it comes to the stuff that I do, like the stuff I just did with Zach, the Sleeping Dogs track, which to me is just so greasy and southern, and it was something that I'd never really been able to do before. So that was a no-brainer. Plus it was Zach, who I've known for going on 15 years now. Just wanting to do a track with my friend, who is also just happens to be Zach goddamn Wild.
Yeah. Oh, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's, it was just one of those things where there's stuff like that that's just like, duh. Okay. Yeah, we're totally doing that. And then there's stuff that it takes a little time to kind of, figure out.
Right.
Korn was the same way. Korn was literally a phone call. like, hey, you want to do this? And I was on a plane the next day. It was I flew in, hadn't even heard the music.
Right.
I just flew. I was like, yeah, because again, as a fan and as a friend, it was just something that we'd been talking about for years, and all the stars aligned, and I got to do this track, and it is heavy, dude. It is so righteous. People are going to lose their minds. Like, this whole album, and I'm going to brag now because I've heard 11 songs of this. It is such a great throwback to the first 3 Korn albums, and mixed with that maturity that they have now. Like, it's really, really heavy. Like, people are going to lose their minds. It's that good. Speaking
of hearing new music and listening to demos, I saw you on Twitter today.
Oh,
you're soaking
you trolling me, son?
You're soaking up all that new Stone Sour. If we held you down and raided your pockets, is it on the phone or the iPhone?
I purposely didn't bring my phone with me because I got people like feeling me up about it.
You're ready for that sandbagging son of a bitch in Tucson. That Shmonty, he's gonna get me.
Yep. No, man, it's great. We've got 18 songs right now that are solid. Like, probably some of the best stuff we've ever written.
Are you gonna go with Are you gonna go with 18? Make it a dual disc?
Well, we're gonna record everything.
Yeah,
absolutely. It just comes to what we put on the album. But we're also looking to have as much content as possible.
Sure.
So we can do some really special stuff with this release, like to the point where people will be like, wow, this is like, there's so much good stuff coming out of this camp. I can't wait to hear more. And we will have more. So we've got a lot of big plans coming up. First and foremost, though, is, go into the studio in January, record January, February, and try to get the album out early to late spring, somewhere in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Okay, so we started the interview with something controversial. I feel like we should end the interview on a controversial topic, the presidential debates.
Oh, Christ.
The one question that was not asked last night but was addressed by Anthony Bourdain to President Obama. Ketchup on a hot dog, is it acceptable? Corey Taylor's take.
Ooh, depends on what city you come from, obviously. I mean,
Fair.
You come from Chicago, that's a big no, because they're very weird. They're mustard and sauerkraut people, which is just odd.
Right. It's not on the Sonoran dog down here, which is a Tucson staple.
Exactly. But you go to, most ballparks have, ketchup readily there. So it doesn't matter. In Iowa, it's kind of like, as long as it's cooked, I guess you're okay.
There you go.
It's, but then there's people who think that putting chili on a dog is weird. So, it really comes down to what state, comes down to what your taste is. Sauerkraut makes me gag, so I don't eat Chicago dogs.
Okay.
But I am a huge fan of Chicago-style pizza. So there you go.
There you go. So a hot dog for everybody.
Yeah.
In America is what is Corey Taylor 2016.
Hot dog in every pot.
For the presidency. Dude, thank
Corey
you so
Taylor
much.
2020.
Thank you so much for the time today.
It's all good.
It's Rock 102.1.
Shmonty in the morning. Weekday mornings from 5:30 to 10. Rock 102.1.